Okay, we'll go on with some more of this information. I am really kind of curious how my children could be, how Mr. and Mrs. Freeze, I suppose especially, Commander Freeze, now Colonel, coming home at night, coming home after work, and coming home to my children as they are his so often. And they're going just by the word of my ex-wife, the children's mother. She says, oh, the father's a bad guy, he beats the children. Oh, he's one of Jehovah's Witnesses too. So I'm sure that Mr. and Mrs. Freeze just thought it was God's blessing upon them to get my children away from me and out of the Jehovah's Witness religion. How in the world could they really do this conscientiously? Never contacting me, just going by the word of the children's mother. I mean, who knows? We know women never lie. They're never scornful or never bitter about their ex-husbands, are they? No. We know better than that, don't we? Oh, please, really. All right. So that's the kind of people we have as leaders in our military. Bigoted. Well, let's get to some facts instead of opinions and of that nature. Where was I at? Okay, my wife and I have a wallpaper store in Carmel, Indy. I've had my personal evaluation independent done by Dr. Tenike in Indianapolis. Our tests have been changed from once a week to now once a month or once every other week. It was like very uncertain when we moved to Indianapolis. Put the screws to us, as to say. They really did. And my daughter Crystal says, why did you move away? Like, who told? So somebody fed her information, making her think that we were moving away and limiting them. No. Mr. and Mrs. Freeze, Colonel Freeze, you used the tender emotions of my children. You really did. You're a really pathetic person. Now, my children really hate me for doing this. They just don't see any cause, reason, what have you, to do this. Well, the problem is that this is just going on too much in this world, and in some other countries too. It's just as prevalent. And it goes on being unchecked and just tolerated. The illegalities that are involved in DCF proceedings and court proceedings, there's no excuse for it, and it's pathetic that we allow such things to go on in this country. Somebody has to stand up and has to keep barking about the problem. I was done wrong, my children were done wrong, and what they caused to me has prevented me from helping out my mom. It's just on damn. Now, some more facts about the case. When I'm up in Indiana and I see my children, and after the visit's over, and one of the social workers says, I didn't know Gina was yours. Okay, I never thought anything else but that Gina was my child. Now, I see Crystal 6 years ago. We have an idea. She's there with her boy, and really, I'm not going to say about it, but anyway, and Crystal says, Gina doesn't look anything like me. And I talked to Gina over the telephone, and Gina talks about her other children, that one of the other children looks just like her, like a twin. Anyway, I consider both children my children. But I did get a DNA test online that if my children want to check and see whether or not I'm really their dad, because honestly, fathers really know what the woman's actually doing. Some do, some don't. An awful lot of our visitations were, I think, a little bit aggravated with me. She says, and she made an accusation that's marital, and she's going on about this for a while. You just married me for your children. And I just think, I don't know. Maybe I did. Saw this girl a lot like Rose. Yeah. Brought up pleasant memories of Rose. I could. It's a very good. She kept at it a little bit. Understandably, she's aggravated. I'm aggravated. Situated the attention. Go down to Texas. Take Nolan with. Go back down to Texas and see what happens. Anyway, loads up everything out of the apartment. Everything that she could pop upon us. And I made mention about her taking everything. So why are you taking like me? And before she left, this phone call on the bank that I had bid on. Can you go down to the bank and help finish the bank? Almost 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 a.m. or something like that. Help the bank? I thought I was doing the bank. And he says, well, I got some started on this. Okay. So I down and look at the job. Okay. All throughout the bank inside it. 3 people hanging wallpaper already inside that big. It was only like $1,000 job or $900 job. It's not that big. So, I just forget it. I'm not interested in it. Okay, I had another job to look at. I drove to Kentucky, looked at a mall job. Okay, he said, just go down there, give me a reasonable price, and it's yours. So I go down. I give him about the charge for hanging 54-inch vinyl. He gets back with me a day later, and he says, well, I got somebody that's going to do it for half. And I go like, you got to be kidding. So at that point, I decided to close the store, apartment, just sell everything I had, and they had discontinued my visitations with my children several months prior. They actually said in court that we don't want the relationship with the father and his children we don't want to nurture that relationship. We really don't want that family. We want the children to stay where they're at. So we're going to So we're filing for discontinuation of all visitations. Discontinuation. We're living in Indianapolis, and our visitations have been discontinued. And we're just looking. So we have another court hearing before I give up the apartment. This one of the final ones I get. Rose flies up from Texas to be with me in the court hearing. They postponed. They canceled the postpone. And Rose says something to me that really put the knife in our relationship, and kind of says she really doesn't want or willing to hold in there with me. Rose and I had a very good relationship, considering all the things that we went through. She went back down to Texas the next day, and I gave up the apartment. And I was thinking, well, I got one more hearing again for 6 months down the road. There's no work up here. I went down to Birmingham, Alabama, and looked like, boy, these wallpaper stores are really full. There's customers all over the place buying up wallpaper like it's going out of style. Like there is no more. Okay, I'll come down here. But anyway, I got this job on a big hotel downtown Birmingham. Well, I didn't get a job, but there was already a contract for the wallpaper, and the guy was needing help. So, I was helping out on this hotel downtown Birmingham, Alabama. And we're going from the first floor to the sixth floor, and we're doing all this in one day. And he's got like 8 paper hangers working on it. He's so ill-managed that you can't make any money. I mean, sometimes I'm making $50 because they could only have one wall in a room, and they'd have to do drywall repair on the other wall, and then you have to go to another room on a different floor to do something there, which is crazy. So forget this, you know, I could go out there and get work on my own. And I was renting a room in this lady's house. This lady's house, I don't remember her name. She's a very nice lady. Another guy, a nurse, rented a room in the house. And so I stayed there. Okay, when I could afford it. Otherwise, I slept in my car. I sold the van, needed the money, so I sold the van. All right. Final hearing comes up. If I make it, will they postpone it again? Or what will they do? What kind of games are they going to... So, I have no money. I mean, I'm broke. I'm sleeping in my car. Sometimes I can't, I don't, but, you know, the lady's so kind enough. She says, you know, it's okay. I mean, you know, I don't want you to sleep in the car when it's, you know, 10 degrees or whatever, you know, like I said. Anyway, she was very kind. And it's just very difficult for me to deal with all this. I would have had to borrow money or a hitchhike from Birmingham, Alabama to Lafayette, Indiana. I would have, you know, I already had borrowed money from so many people, and I talked to Dr. Tim. He was going to go there. I don't know if he or not. He said he was going to go there. He wanted me, by all means, to make it there. And I go like, what am I going to do? I mean, here I am, got no house now, no stay, no work. I'm probably getting another divorce with Rose. I mean, what's that going to make? And I go like, so I didn't make it back up. I didn't make it up for that final court hearing, which I don't know if that was going to be a final one. They may have postponed it and made another. You know, you just don't know what the deal is going to be. So I was very despondent about that. Met a girl in Birmingham, Alabama, and stayed with her for a little while. Then I went down to Dothan, Alabama, got a storage unit, slept in a storage unit for a few days. Door, banging on the garage door. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, God. He knows I'm sleeping here. All right. Okay, anyway, so I contact people in the congregation, let them know I was around, you know, and they give me a place to stay. Very, very generous and kind of them. Gave me a place to stay, and you know, and I went to the meetings there, and Bill Bond was he had a pressure cleaning business, and I developed a slogan from the gone advertising slogan for his business. I stayed with them for a while. Then they said they could do anything, and I just they had a talk with me, and they said, well, you know, we really, I said, what's this in? Yeah. So we want to encourage down to Texas and try to get back together with Rose's wife. Just go down there and see what happens, you know. Try to get back together with her. That's what we need to do. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I went down to Aransas Pass. This was not Corpus Christi, but Aransas Pass is just north of Christi, 25 miles. I went down there. Rose was so helpful. My son, and I got her son a little instrument, a little xylophone, a real band xylophone that I got at the pawn shop. And I talked to him about us being separated, and Rose was very helpful. She helped me get a place, a travel trailer to stay in, and busy back hanging wallpaper where I started hanging wallpaper in Corpus Christi, Texas, and so started money again. And Rose helped me on the job too, and but Rose and I didn't get back together. We didn't get back together. They let me know that I couldn't stay in the travel trailer indefinitely, and that I should probably find another place to stay. And so I wasn't really sure what to do. Anyway, I'm driving past this one area. I think I was selling carpet for carpet. I believe I was out doing some carpet on this one job for this one place, and I saw this bread truck, this antique 1962 Grumman bread truck, and I said, you know, I could use that bread truck. Could do a lot with that. So I got the bread truck, and that was my working vehicle and my living vehicle, and I had it arranged so that I could have supplies, working supplies and equipment in there, and I also have a little case. So I did that. I lived in my bread truck for about 3 years total. I lived in my bread truck. I did work in Corpus Christi. I did work in Austin, Texas. I got work in both areas. So between Corpus and Austin most of the time, I was one place or the other doing wallpaper work. Sometimes in my truck it would be fall. You know, you just have to deal with it. You know, the cold, and you get a little butane burner to heat your water up in the morning to have some hot water.